every real estate investor, like you could get off to a quick start, hit your first wholesale deal, and then go on a dry streak for 6 months. And most real estate investors would quit. But, those speed bumps are learning lessons. Like I hate it when people get into real estate, they hit one home run, maybe they get one flip that like they made money, one wholesale deal that they made money, and they think, I know how to do this now. Well, no, you don't. Matter of fact, if you think you're going to fail. And a lot of times that's exactly what life hands you is the next is a failure. And, it's the important part is that you make it through the failures because that's where you learn. You don't learn much by hitting a home run. You just don't. You learn when you fail. So let's talk about those speed bumps.
Right. So, here's something I tell all my mentees is that the worst thing you can do is close your first real estate deal. The worst thing you can do is make your first $100,000. The worst thing you can do is make your first $1 million. And the reason why is because you got to do it again, right? Once you set that bar, you can't perform under that. So once I did my first deal, what I realized is that I didn't have a business and I couldn't predict it. Like, I didn't have a system behind what can generate me leads consistently. I didn't have a CRM at this time. I didn't know about follow-ups. Like I was literally just winging it. Like in the car, seller called me, pull over, find the back of the napkin, write it all out. Then go wash my car, throw the lead out. Now I'm home like, yo, what happened to the lead? No voice recordings, nothing. I'm just blowing money. And I didn't have no business. So by the end of that year, I did went ahead and did like 3 or 4 more deals. My first year, I did make $65,000, which was cool, but it wasn't predictable. Every time I did a deal and I was back to square one, I was stressed because I didn't know when the next deal was going to come.
That's the worst part about real estate is that unknown of when is the next deal? When is the next meal? And a lot of the worst part is when you make the money, a lot of real estate investors spend it. They just blow it. And then all of a sudden they're chasing and fighting. And it always it keeps you too focused on the sale and doesn't keep you focused on the systems and processes that must be built to duplicate this over and over. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I did was, Chris, from there, I said, you know what? I need help. My first mentor was cool, but it was a virtual training. Like you just watched these 10 videos. It was only 10 videos. And it was one call a month. And he was a very popular guy. So there's 100 people on this hour call. And you'll be lucky if you got in through the queue. And the one time I got in through the queue, I forgot what my question was. And it didn't work for me. So I signed up for a motivated seller system that I could pull lists from. And they sent me an email to come out to a 3-day real estate wholesale summit in San Diego, California. And I had never really traveled anywhere at this time. Again, I'm 21 years old. I said, you know what? This is my chance. The guy's name was Kent Clothier. I don't know if you know Kent Clothier.
Oh my God. Did you know that Kent's my business partner?
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Kent Clothier. Holy cow. Yeah. Reverse wholesaling. I've known Kent for many, many years. I'm one of the billionaire boardroom members. I just don't make it to as many of them as I like anymore. But yeah, Kent's been my partner now for going on 6 years, I think.
Wow. Tell Ken I said hi. I'm sure he remembers.
I sure will. I actually literally just talked to him the other day.
Nice. Yep. So I bought his Find Cash Buyers Now system when that was really, it's still really popular. I still close deals from his. I know he sold it to Corey, the system, but I still use it to this day. I went out there to San Diego, California. I said, you know what? I'm transforming my life going out to this 3-day summit. I went out there. I met Justin Colby. I met Kent Clothier. I met Sean Terry. I met Rita Dallas. I know she's not with them anymore, I don't think. But I met the whole family, and I was so inspired because I was by all these millionaires, right? I was by all these successful people. And the one thing I loved about Kent's story and Sean's story and everybody's story is that even though they were successful people, they all been through shit in their life. Like they all had this time in their life where it was either fight or flight. And I can resonate with that. And I swear I was like listening to all their stories. I was literally crying inside because I was like, I'm in the right place. And then they started teaching us about the systems, the KPIs, the RGAs, the marketing, the 1% rule with your marketing, the KPIs, 20 offers to 1 contract. And then once Sean Terry and them broke that down at that event, I joined their mastermind, and they also was doing a game that weekend, right? And it was like it was a networking game. And I had a selfie stick. This is when the selfie sticks first came out. I had a selfie stick, my cell phone, and I was running through that event like a groupie. I was meeting up with everybody, doing selfies, doing videos, pull Kent to the side. Kent, can we shoot a video? And I joined their boardroom mastermind in 2016. And at the end of that event, I actually won like their rockstar student. They gave me like this big old 14, 15-inch iPad. He pulled me up to the front of the room and said, Isaac, and I still got the video. He said, Isaac, I've been watching you this entire event. You played full out, dude. Like, and at the rate that you're going, if you stay with this energy and tenacity, you're going to go places. And that was it. I said, man, listen, man, I got this dude from the West Coast, this millionaire telling me that I was great. He confirmed everything I knew my entire life. And I joined their boardroom. And in that 1 year, I'm telling you, Chris, I used the same strategies. Every once in a while, I'll try a new mentorship. And what I learned from Kent and then back then is the same system and flow that I use to this day. Nothing changes. And I mean, that was all I needed. And that took my business from guessing to predicting based off the numbers. And I mean, I've been 300 deals plus now, flips, rental portfolio of over $5 million, you know, but yeah, that was the game changer. I went and got some high level mentorship. And then I went back the next year. And the biggest thing I took away from the next year, it was something very small, Google reviews. So like, I started getting like Google reviews on my like building up my Google reviews. That's like the one thing I can think of off the top of my head. And most of our deals, sellers are saying, hey, look, I checked out your page. I see you got great reviews. So we put a system in place with that. But again, that's information from 5 or 6 years ago that I'll be making money for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. It's funny. I just text Kent, you know, a photo of you talking. So we'll see what he says back. But that's pretty awesome. So many similarities there. And it's just great that you just kept going. Now let's just pivot a little bit. Let's go from, you know, you're wholesaling, you're learning all these systems, you know, you're getting mentors, you're getting around the right people, you're changing your network, changing your life. And then all of a sudden you start dabbling in flipping. And based on the time frame, I can totally see why you did this. I mean, 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. I mean, straight up to, you know, last couple of years, flipping has been really, you know, a great place to be, but it is a pain in the ass. You know, me and my wife have flipped 273 houses or 274. I don't even know to date. And I can't think of one that was easy. I can't think of one that everything just went perfectly smooth. You know, some you win, some you lose. Like, what was that transition like? Because now you got contractors. Now you're working with lenders or banks or private lenders. You know, there's a whole different dynamic. Building, I mean, you're in New Jersey, I'm in New York. The building inspectors are just nightmares. The contractors are nightmares. It's just, I don't know if it's nationwide, but I just feel like our areas are just ultimately tough and our taxes suck ass. So like, why flipping and how did that go for you?
Right. So, I mean, my flipping experience has been a little bit different, and I'll break that down to you, but I'll tell you what changed my vision to go into flipping. In 2018, the end of 2018, I had this really good investor, and I'm still good friends with him now. His name is Steve. I wholesaled him a deal. I made $28,000 on this deal. It was an out-of-state owner who inherited a property. Her asking price, I was able to give her an asking price and made $28,000 on the house. He called me when the house was under contract to sell. And he said, hey, Isaac, remember the deal that you sold me at Shark River Hills? He said, look, it's sold for $30,000 over appraised value, right? So as he's ranting and bragging about this, I'm sitting back breaking down the numbers. So I'm like, all right, you bought it for me for $178. He said he put about $60,000 into it, and he sold it for like, it appraised at $420, sold it for $440 or $450, one of them numbers. So I'm like, okay, 28, that's about $150 to $170. I said to myself when I hung up that call, I said, if I just believed in myself a little bit more, I could have made $200,000 on this property. I never sold him a deal after that. Not intentionally, but you know, my investor list grew, and then I started taking on some of the projects. Now, I won't lie. It took me going through 2 bad contractors to get to 1 contractor. So I can't ignore the nightmares that I did go through. My first contractor, I bought a piece of land. I still own it to this day for $11,000. I built a home. This is back when you can build a property. It's a 1,500 square foot house. I built it for about $130,000. That same build now is probably $80,000 to $100,000 more. And I kept it as a rental. But the contractor pretty much ran off at the end of the project. Luckily he didn't do it in the middle of the project. He left when there was like $15,000 left. He might have costed me an extra 20 out of my pockets. And I learned that these contractors, I went to a lawyer. He's like, hey, look, man, to be honest, it could be a lot worse. I don't recommend us go after him. He probably doesn't have nothing. I'll send him a little demand letter, but it's a tough cookie. Here's what I recommend. Go find somebody else, finish your project, go on, pretty much go on with your life, So I had that ordeal. I found another contractor. We did good on 3 projects. And then the half of the 3rd and the 4th project, when things went bad with him, I'm in a lawsuit to this day. That was back in 2021. I won a $110,000 judgment with him, which it sounds sexy, wow, but nothing. But it's funny, my lawyer.
Did he actually pay?
No, not yet. Actually about to warrant him an arrest so my lawyer can talk to him now. So
I've been there. It's just a long, slippery slope that just never seems to have an end.
And it literally took me, Chris, from them 2 projects, the 13, because I was using Lima One Capital for them loans, and luckily
Lima's terrible.
Yeah, I don't use them anymore. But the one thing I was happy about is they do 13-month terms versus 12-month terms. And I literally refinanced out the rentals, and I still got them properties on the 13th month. Because the guy, I was doing it virtual because I was in Atlanta and I got a business partner. I was managing here in Jersey, and he just kept stringing us along. But we found another contractor. We got them deals done. Now, this contractor I got now, he's been a blessing. He's really been a blessing for us. I've done 8 projects with him. All of our homes have sold within 30 days on the market. Inspectors, I haven't really had a lot of issues with inspectors, but it's 1 or 2, in every municipality. There's 1 or 2 tough ones. But what I do with the inspectors is this. Number 1, I don't let my contractors cut corners. But I go to every township myself and I introduce myself. So a lot of times when I close on a property, some towns will let you do the demolition, roof, windows, siding. Some won't. So I'll go in there and I'll just get permission from them. Hey, look, we're submitting our plans. What can we do? What can't we do? I kind of try to set the tone. Most of the time you're only speaking with the secretary lady. So it really doesn't do much because the inspector doesn't see you. But I've been fortunate to have good experience with most of the inspectors that I've crossed paths with. Every deal I've sold here in Jersey last year, I know the market is a little bit shakier right now, but I'm about to test it. I'm finishing a property right now, and we'll see how the market is. But I mean, Ocean, Monmouth County, New Jersey is really, really hot. I really haven't had problems selling any projects. I did lose $70,000 on a water a property in Lavalette last year, but it sold fast. But I lost a lot of money on the deal. So I really haven't had too many issues. I think the biggest thing with these projects is you always want them done faster than they get done. So, but I just deal with one general contractor. I didn't ever want to get into the sub-end, dealing with different personalities, writing different checks. I deal with one guy. The beautiful thing is wholesaling has helped me. Chris, I buy all my deals even in today's market, I'm buying them 65 cents on the dollar. So my contractor gives me good price and I'm paying anywhere from $70 to $80 a square foot. Most of my projects, this one I'm in right here, they're pretty much most of the time full guts that I do, or majority of them. I did a couple condos that were light work, but I got a pretty smooth system, but sometimes I want it to go faster than what it's going. But I literally was telling my partner, I'm thinking about us transitioning back into just heavy wholesaling. Because what I don't like about the fix and flips is that even though I have the rehab draws coming back and forth, I'm giving my contractor my marketing dollars to get work. And I'm giving them 20, 30K. I got 3 projects. I'm giving them $80,000 out of my pockets, and where I can be using that to just do more real estate deals. So I'm thinking about cutting back on the flips, maybe having one going or one rental or one flip. But I'm trying to scale up in the wholesaling process because, like I just made $48,000 on one wholesale deal yesterday. You know, I got like
$48,000.
$48,000.
That's more than you can make on a lot of flips and a hell of a lot less work.